Hello and welcome. I'm Patrick Curtis, your host and chief monkey, and this is the Wall Street Oasis podcast. Join me as I talk to some of the community's most successful and inspirational members to gain valuable insight into different career paths and life in general. Let's get to it. Another interesting chat with the WSO interns. If you're interested in applying to the internship, please check out the show notes. There's a link right there. Enjoy. We can start it up now. I see some familiar names. Hey, Paul, Hari, Ishpreet, Minaz, Nabil, of course, is on because he has to be on. I'm just kidding. Paul's on. Rachel. Hi, Tanae again. Hevion, Yihan, and Mahi. And then we got a couple more coming in right now. Ahmed and Mumima. How's everyone doing? Hey, Zoe.
Pretty good. I have a quick question, actually.
Shoot.
So I believe I put my start date as like August 1st because I'm doing an internship right now and a part-time one as well. Yep. So do I just kind of chill in the Slack until then, or how does that work? Because I'm looking to do this over the fall type of thing.
Yeah, you can just start in August. If you're added to the group, you can just kind of see who's in there, the types of questions coming in if you want to check it out beforehand. All the resources are pinned to the top of the Slack. If you want to, we'll send you an email before your start date, like a couple of days before. But if you want to start looking over some of that stuff prior, feel free, or fine for you to just focus on your current internship and then just, get ramped in August.
Yeah. By the way, I love the podcast. I listen to it like every day before I go to the gym or on my way in back to the gym.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, we've done a lot of episodes now. It's like crazy, almost 200. Yeah, I feel like we got to do more. We haven't been doing as many.
I've been looking for recent uploads and I can't find any. So
I got to do more.
I'm gonna press you on that.
Yeah, we've been doing more. We've been doing more of these. I've actually been uploading these calls because they're kind of similar type of career-oriented advice and stuff. Where are you located right now?
I'm from San Francisco, so I'm doing my internship here, but next summer I'll be in New York, so I'm pretty amped.
Nice. What school?
Purdue.
Nice. Okay. Very cool. What are you doing in New York? What's your internship?
S&T. So it's going to be pretty interesting.
Nice. Congrats on landing that.
I'm not paying attention to it.
It's really shocking because I did like no networking or anything and just got the super day and got the offer. So it's
really
pretty crazy. Yeah, especially from like Purdue.
From Purdue, that's impressive.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's very cool. Maybe they know something you don't. So, yeah, man, tons of people flowing in now. They're getting much larger. Sorry about I don't know if you guys can hear those beeps of people joining, but so we can start out just basically usually is there somebody, anybody that has questions around the internship in particular? Let me change the view so I can see people and see who's talking. There we go. And sorry if you hear kids screaming in the background too, that's probably mine. But yeah, in the meantime, any questions specifically around the internship just to get started? We got about almost 30 people on the call now. Anything there?
I had one question about the internship.
Yeah, go ahead, Camille.
So you have to dedicate at least 15 hours per week for the internship. That's correct?
Yeah, correct. Nabil, do you want to talk about like the hours and the requirements?
Yeah, so it's 15 hours every week for a total of 175 hours over 12 weeks.
So would it be possible? So my question was, would it be possible like 1 week to do 10 hours, another week to do 20 hours so that it adds up to 175 overall? Or do we need at least 15 hours a week?
Oh, no, you could do that. We'd like it if you'd have 15 every week. But then if you can't, just let me know in advance. Yeah, so we'll probably let that go.
Just for this week, I just have some, like, for example, I'm here over in Canada. Like we have, for example, the July 1st celebrations today. Like this week, I don't think I'll be able to meet those 15 hours, but for the following week, I'll like set aside more hours for the internship, right?
Sounds good. Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah, also for the same thing, it happened with me too. I kind of skipped through the week this week. I have like 5-6 hours. Could I complete it next week?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah,
You
cool.
can just carry over the hours you haven't done this week over to next week and then complete it. No problem.
Yeah, and Doe was asking, can you compress the hours to finish early? Yes, you can. If you need to speed through it to get to another internship, you can do that as well. So that's an option as well. You can speed through it, but you just keep in mind, if it's super low quality and the articles aren't coming through, they're not going to get approved. So you're trying to rush through it and do a ton of hours early, and the quality of work suffering, then it's going to just end up dragging the thing out longer than you want to. Sorry about that, guys. I got a lot of screaming kids in the background, but we'll keep going. So anybody, let's see, Yihan said, I just sent a message on Slack regarding my article status.
Oh yeah, I just put your name back. I don't know what happened there. I put your name back, change the status. Yeah, it's fine now.
We got your name back, Yihan. Hey, Biying is asked, do we have regular meetings? Yes, Biying, we typically have a meeting every Friday. Like this, where we can answer questions and answer not just questions about the internship, but questions about the actual career-oriented questions around interviews, recruiting, and whatnot. So yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah, Tanay, go ahead.
I just wanted to know if there was a minimum requirement of articles that we need to submit before our internship gets over. Like, is there a number of articles that we need to get done with before the 175 hours?
Yeah,
21. Yeah, yep. 21 in total. Yeah.
And if you finish 21 before you finish your hours, should I continue?
Yeah, because that's the minimum requirement, right?
Got it. Perfect.
Yeah, and the issue is if you just try to get the rush to the 21, we've seen the quality suffer. So we want you to really spend the time to make sure you're getting to the length and the quality that will allow us to actually get them published.
Got it. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks.
So I haven't done too much research into the internship since I'm starting in August, I believe. But I was just wondering how it's kind of structured. Are we just trying to put out articles for the Wall Street Oasis website on basically anything we want? Say if there's a macroeconomic event, can we just write about it or something like that?
Yeah, you'll see once you start, there's a whole list of topics that we have kind of pre-populated with ideas. So it's not just a random selection. You can select the ones or the topics that are most interesting to you that will help your CV the most. But yeah, it's not totally random. There's some method to the madness in terms of how we structured it and the types of stuff we actually selected for actual uploads. We actually have these pages ready on site. They're just not published yet. So we're just waiting for that content to fill in terms of, header tags, subheaders, H3s, paragraphs, all that good stuff. So, it's more ranked, it's more built around what's going to help us as a site and as a community grow the traffic and get relevant traffic to the specific products and services and stuff like that. That'll help the business continue to grow. So it's like a very, very long-term play for us. It's not one of those things where you write an article and suddenly it's paying off and bringing you hundreds of visitors. It's usually you write an article and if you're lucky, it'll rank in the top 20, which means you'll get a trickle of traffic, but if it's done really well, it'll start creeping up. And then maybe in a year and a half, it starts ranking in the top 3 because people who are landing on that page, they realize, oh, this is a really good piece of content and they're sticking around and Google's recognizing that. And so it slowly helps us creep up those rankings. And suddenly it starts becoming linked to as a reference for that specific term or topic. And then from there, you start ranking higher and actually it starts bringing in, a couple of visits a day, for example, across the whole year. It actually makes a difference. But yeah, that's the goal. Still letting in people. We're up to 37. I don't know if it's a record, but it's definitely getting up there. Bennett, you have a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I'm starting my internship today, and I just had a question about something on the guide which said that if I do need to take a break, I can take a break, and I just wanted to ask that regarding. So I have 12 weeks, and I have 2 exams in between these 12 weeks, where I will need at least a 1 week gap. So I'll have to take 1 week in July and then 1 week in September. So is that possible to break it like that?
Yes. Totally. Absolutely. Just give Nabila a heads up so we have that kind of documented, and then we can, that's fine. I don't think that's an issue.
Okay.
That's why we have those two we have that 2-week kind of flexibility built in.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much.
It usually tends to be more of an issue during the school year because people are actually doing this with classes sometimes, and it's much harder for them to do that. So that's where it's harder. But if you have exams over the summer, for sure.
Yeah.
Ahmad, you have a question?
Yes, I do. Is the internship based on the amount of articles that we write, or is it based on the timing? Or can I span 21 articles to a span of like more than 12 weeks or not? Or less even? Or do we have to make it synchronized between the articles and the timing?
Good question. So I think the confusion is around like the timing. You can compress it, but you shouldn't be extending it past the 12 weeks or the 14 weeks if you have a 2-week grace period like Bennett was just requesting. So that's the maximum length. The minimum number of articles is 21, and the minimum number of hours is 175.
Okay, Tamam. Thank you.
Thank you. Emmett, go ahead.
Hi, Patrick. I actually think I might have skipped a few people, so I'm happy if you want to.
I don't even know who's raising their hands first. Did Madav get it? Was he ahead of you?
I think so, yeah. I think I was the last in the queue.
Go ahead, Madav.
Hi, Patrick. I just graduated high school, and I'll be attending college in August. So I'm starting my internship like tomorrow, and I applied late too. So what would you suggest I do? Because I start college in like midway through August.
What should you do in the sense of like
timing wise? Like there's no way I get 15. There's no way it's 15 weeks between now and August. And I'm also playing tennis in college, so I won't have any time to.
Yeah, I mean, you could make it like a full-time role, right? And try to get through the 21. You have 6 weeks before you start. You could make it more like full-time, and then that would get you there, I think.
Oh, okay. So I can do that, right? So I don't have to do I don't have to go full 15 weeks.
You don't have to go. That's the minimum. Like that's the maximum. That's a maximum threshold. So it shouldn't be stretching out past that.
Okay,
if you can stretch your hours, yeah, you could do this in 6 weeks. It's a lot.
So say I do as much as I can, I don't hit the 21. Like what happens? Like how does that work? Like
you'd be getting the free courses as you go along.
Okay. So it's just like proportionate to how much you do.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're getting free credit. You're getting the courses unlocked as you go. So it just means like if you want like some sort of certificate, a lot of people who are doing this want like a certificate at the end or something like being like successfully completed.
I got you. Okay.
You wouldn't get that, but you would still unlock free courses and stuff like that. And there's still it still benefits you putting it on your resume and stuff like that.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
I also have one more question. So how weighted do you think this is on a resume? Since it's not like a paid internship and it's not really like a financial analyst position, but it is research. So how do you think it's weighted on it? Like how valuable do you think it is?
It depends on like what you're targeting. If you're targeting like investment banking and it's like a freshman summer or even before you even start, like I think it's a great internship for that. It's just especially for you, like, or freshman summer or sophomore summer, even if you can't get like the banking internship, let's say you're targeting investment banking.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't get the banking internship, it's probably like the next best thing because you can at least get like the same keywords and you're still, you can review the same topics like valuation, DCF, financial modeling, Excel, all this stuff. And plus you get access to those courses, which you can also put on your CV or as like self-study. So it's like almost like a double whammy. It helps just flesh out. It helps just get a lot of finance oriented stuff on your resume when you're really young. Like it is really helpful to fill it in.
Yeah,
so I think it's super valuable for somebody, especially somebody super young.
All right.
Yeah, as a rising freshman, that's super solid that you're doing this already. I think even more important than a target school or anything is knowing that you want to do finance before school. Because I only realized that like last semester, which was second semester sophomore year, and it was a grind, but I still got something. So if you start earlier, the better for sure.
Yeah,
I'm going to Stern this upcoming fall, and I was wondering isn't it like super competitive for investment bank? So like is it a top target school? Like how does that work? Like,
yeah, NYU is
like,
one of the top. Yeah, man, it's one of the top. They feed a ton of kids into Wall Street.
yeah, but there's also, isn't there like also like everyone there does IB?
Yes, yes. So it is competitive. So it's not like a given. But I think this is a great first step for sure. I think, yeah, and I think especially if you can squeeze it in before you start as much as possible, and then gets some of the self-study on there, it's just going to show like, it's just going to show you're super hungry, like at that young age, like even for Stern, I think that's early.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That helps a lot.
I mean, it's crazy how young some of these interns are now, but anyway, who else do we have? I think Emmett, I think you are next.
Hi, Patrick.
Hey, how are you?
So I'm good. How are you?
Good, hanging in there.
So my question is, it's kind of related to, there's been a few posts from Goldman Sachs and Blackstone out saying, hey, our summer internships for next year are open already. So, which is crazy when you think that the current interns are barely a week into their own thing. So I guess a more general question around that. So I'm starting an internship. It's a placement internship for 12 months. It's in a corporate finance firm. We are doing a lot of investment banking services as well. Mm-hmm. So I guess, but I'm only a month into it. So I guess, assuming I get one of those internships in the summer, but if I'm applying for them now, how do you kind of put that on your resume when you've got the limited experience, only being, a few weeks or a month or so into your internship? And even, I guess if you wanted to put this internship as well, if you're only a week into it.
Have you done any articles with us yet? Anything? Have you gotten through anything?
I've done a little bit. It's been a bit hard to kind of juggle the work, but I'm going to take some time off.
Yeah, so I mean it's hard because, like you said, it's like you're applying without much on the resume. What year are you?
I'm in second year. I mean, I would have
a previous summer internship.
Not investment banking related. No, I would have done a spring week.
So what I would do, I wouldn't have a bunch of bullets under these internships. It would almost have to shift a little bit more to like maybe 2 bullets under each, like one under the WSO one under this other corp dev one. That just explains more about like what your role is, less about like I did this, I did that. And so it's a little bit weaker in the sense of like the bullets are weaker. It's not showing you like had an impact, you did all this stuff, but you're still ideally like going to be able to say a lot of the self-study stuff, the financial modeling stuff. You're still going to be able to say like a lot of the like, you're still going to be able to position yourself as a go-getter because you have 2 internships, right? So I think there's a lot of things that look good there that, other kids are going to be dealing with the same thing, right? They will have just started a few weeks ago. So I wouldn't go crazy and oversell like what you've already done. Maybe embellish a little bit if you're on a project in the last few weeks and you did some stuff. Maybe you could talk about it a little bit, and have that as one bullet and another bullet as like other things you're expected to do throughout the summer. But yeah, that's not an easy position. That's where I'll plug our resume review service. That's where like having somebody like sit there for a few hours and actually review it, because it depends exactly like what the internship is, what your role is, what exactly you're doing there, and like how much should or should not embellish. You got to be careful, right?
Yeah, I guess it's very early days. I've only
super early days
putting together some IMs and valuation reports, and nothing is kind of
that's good though
gone through yet.
But that's good. That's good as long as it's relevant work and it's like is your GPA. The problem with all this early recruiting, all it does is it makes it like the traditional metrics of like GPA in school, like people just have to lean on it heavier because the experience isn't even there. So it's a shame, right? Like it doesn't let like kids show who they are through the years, right? Like if junior summer was actually recruited in like early junior year, it'd be so much more, they'd have so much more information than what they do. Like now, like sophomore summers, like early freshman year, like junior summers, like early sophomore, it's a joke, right? It's super early. So that's where like Bennett doing this before he even goes to college is helpful. Because like he's gonna be hit with recruiting so early, and they're gonna see that he actually had this internship. That's why it's like that's one of the reasons it's super helpful for him, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I would just try to get something down there that is, you know, one or two probably 2 bullets, right? If one of them has to be a little bit more like what's expected, your roles like through the rest of the summer is going to be. And if you're having trouble doing that, I mean, I would ask one of the analysts or one of the full-time people like to help you, like, hey, what could I write here that you think is reasonable, you know?
Okay. So I guess kind of just keep it very brief and kind of, you know, what you're
2 one-line bullets. 2 one-line bullets. Don't have them wrap into 2 bullets. Just, you know, giving a highlight of what you're doing, what you've done so far, and then what you're expected to do.
Okay, great. And one other quick one. I noticed there was 2 new courses in the last few months that you put up, the 13-week modeling or cash flow modeling.
Yep.
And the private equity process or something like that.
Yep. Private equity deals process course. Yep.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask very quickly, could you give a brief overview of them, just kind of what they entail? 13-week modeling, is that kind of distressed debt?
Yeah, it's a little more on the distress side. It's kind of what you'd see a precursor to like a corporate restructuring course. We're in development on a corporate restructuring course. That'll almost be like almost like a mini course prior to doing a restructuring. So if you're interested in like distressed, say working in restructuring IB or private equity restructuring type shops where you're looking at distressed assets, that's probably a good course to take. And then once we have our corporate restructuring, full corporate restructuring course, I definitely recommend that. The private equity deals process is much more giving private equity associates and analysts a framework of what a PE deal looks like. So it's not just LBO modeling. It's really from like when they get a SIM from a banker and they're trying to figure out, hey, is this a good deal or not? What is their role of like looking, guiding a deal from, through diligence, looking at a QOV report, building a super detailed underwriting model with cases, going through like a letter of intent, an IOI, all the different stages of an auction process and buying, what their role would be as a private equity analyst and associate. So I think it's going to be a super popular course because people in general just love the idea of being in private equity, even though it's super competitive to get into, so they like to learn it. I think that paired with the LBO modeling course is a great way to kind of prepare yourself for a career in private equity and what you'd be doing kind of day. It gives you a really good idea of what you'd be doing day to day.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah, to the point where we actually even sourced real deal documents from the community and redacted them. So obviously they're super confidential. So we got these like huge, real stock purchase agreements, real letters of intent, real NDAs, and we go through the instructor goes through them and spends a lot of time kind of drilling down on the types of things you should be looking out for as an analyst or an associate to make sure the disaster scenario doesn't happen. So pretty cool course. Mumina, did I say that right? Mumina?
Yes. Hey, Patrick. How are you?
Hi. How are you?
Good. Thank you. I wanted to ask at the end of the internship, like when intern ask for you for letter of recommendation, did you write one?
Typically we do like a completion, like successfully completed an internship. Nabil, have we done like any sort of letter of recommendation? I think mostly it's been just people asking for completion, like
completion certificate. Yeah. So we usually give that. Yeah. It just says that you've completed the internship from so-and-so date and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be something to build where we could do something like, are you looking for something like on your LinkedIn or something like that to help feature it?
Like I am because I want to apply for master. Like I want to go for my master degree, and then they ask for letter of recommendation from your employer, from your internship, like employers. So that's why I was going to ask, like.
I think it's something we might be able to do. It's tough because you're not working like day to day with like,
yes.
It's hard for us to like speak too much around like, did you do good work? Yes, hopefully. But like, I don't know if it's going to be the best source of an actual rec letter. We're happy to do like a letter of completion, all that stuff, and even maybe something more or less formal on like the LinkedIn to help your CV look on there. I probably wouldn't use this for a letter of rec on a master. I don't know, Nabil, if you disagree. I think it's different if you work through the internship and do an amazing job, and then we promote you to a paid position, which we have done, and we're promoting 2 more, I think, in the next few weeks. If that happens, I think it's a different story, because then you're more like in the day-to-day full time working with us.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
it makes sense.
I don't know if that's going to be an option for you, but that's what I would say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cole, do you want to ask a question, since I think you've been waiting?
Yeah, sure. So mine's more related to the networking side of things.
Mhm.
I'm taking a summer course, and the chapter that I just read this past week was on power and politics, and it went through networking. And my question, I guess, is, through that chapter, they really emphasize networking more of not just reaching out and trying to build a connection, but reaching out with something to provide. And for a student or someone who really isn't yet in that industry or actively within that industry, what are some tips or maybe ideas on what, say, someone like myself could provide to someone I'm trying to network with?
Yeah, it's hard as a college kid to be providing actual value to people in the field, right? Because typically you think, oh, what can I do? Like, they actually have everything they need. I'm a poor college kid. I can't buy them anything. I can't, right? So what I would say is the value you're giving them, think of it this way. The value you're giving them is them feeling good about themselves by helping you. Okay? Because like what you're going to be giving them is a lot of gratitude and appreciation, I hope, when they do help you. And so like some people will say you could send them like a relevant article if it's about their specific deal or their specific groups. Or for example, let's say it's somebody in Lazard's restructuring group, for example, and you see that Lazard just retained a big client. The restructuring group just, suddenly was placed on the XYZ bankruptcy. And, sending a quick note when you see that in the news is a great way to stay top of mind, see that you're reading relevant financial topics and kind of up to date, but then also kind of making them, feel good, be like, hey, congratulations on this pretty exciting mandate. So that's kind of like, it's not giving them a ton of value. I think if you were like super deep into the research of like a specific niche area or product group, and you found a really interesting article that you might find relevant. So let's say the person's an investor in educational SaaS type, SaaS technology, education technology type businesses, and you read like an incredible article or you stumble upon it that's maybe a little bit harder to find. You can potentially say, hey, you probably have already seen this, or maybe you've already seen this, but in case you hadn't, I thought you might find it interesting. Hope all is well. Something like that would be great.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. How about, I think, Paul, do you have a quick one? Since we, I want to give everybody else a chance to.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
I was just wondering, since I'm doing like S&T next summer, but I'm interested in IB.
Yeah.
How should I go about that? Like, should I try to get an off-cycle thing like private equity or banking, or should I just try to get on like a good desk, like something more related, like either like high yield, distressed debt, credit trading? Because I'm going to be on the FICC side, or do you think it would be better just to try to network within the bank and try to lateral through the bank?
You can network within the bank. My only concern with that is like, are the people in S&T going to hear about it? Right. It might be better to try and get that off cycle. I think would be great. It's a much better way to show your interest in banking and not get branded as the S&T person. That's your fear. So it's kind of it's a delicate balance. I think the fact that you have a relevant internship is good. It shouldn't, having an S&T internship shouldn't stop you from being able to apply to the full IB ones. It's just, it would look better, obviously, if you have a actual IB one, even if it's at a tiny bank.
Yeah, I think I'm going to love S&T as well. I just want to see as I go into the summer what other things I can do. Because I know it is a pigeonhole, but it's a good pigeonhole where you could just become a career trader. But I'm also interested in other things.
That's fair. I think that's fair. So yeah, I would just try to do what you said. I think OffCycle is a great idea if you can do it, or stack one next summer with IB.
Do you think
Camille.
it's
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Do you think it's still possible to get a off-cycle internship at this time for fall or spring?
Yeah, off-cycle by definition is like unstructured, and it's just about, that's really where like putting in the legwork of building a massive network and keeping up to date with that network, really, that's where it pays off. Because then it's like, are you actually building are there a few really good relationships at some tiny bank where they'll be like, okay, yeah, you can quote intern with us or like do a couple analyses for me here and there. I'll throw some work at you. And then it's like, it looks good on the resume. It's maybe not a ton of work for you, but it's something that can kind of signal to employers like, hey, I'm really interested in this. But that's really hard to find because there's a lot of people trying to get that. Cool. Camille.
Yeah, so I'm in a little bit of a unique situation. Like I was born in America, so I'm an American citizen, but my whole life since I was like 10 years old, I've lived in Canada, right? So I'm based out of Toronto, Canada. And I'm looking to break into the corporate finance investment banking route in America because I know there's a lot more opportunities in the States compared to here. So my question was more so related to the value, like how would I go about in transitioning into that field in America? Like is the internship and the GPA more important, or the type of school you go to, or like do they value schools in Canada or not so much? Like if you had any advice for me in terms of that aspect.
Yeah, they absolutely value schools in Canada. I don't know where you go, but like an Ivy or a McGill or there's a couple others, Schulich School of Business, whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah, I think if you're at one of those, it's a top target. I don't know. Are you at one of those or no?
Currently not, but I'm looking to pursue my MBA in like Schulich or Rotman, like one of those Ivy League.
Yeah. So like, if you're not at one of those, my bigger concern is more like you getting branded as like making sure it's very obvious on your CV that you're a US citizen.
Oh, okay. Right.
That's like the number one thing on your whole thing, because everything's going to be like Toronto address. Like your resume is going to get thrown out before they even realize you're a citizen.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So like you need to somehow like literally in bold at the top, like US citizen.
Right. And then potentially even like I was also considering like maybe doing an MBA in the States as well.
I don't like the MBA right after undergrad. If that's what you're thinking.
Okay. Because you want the experience first, right?
Yeah, it's just such a good reset, man. It's like pull in case of emergency, option rather than like, I don't think this is an emergency yet.
Right.
You haven't even graduated, right? You're not even like, so like I would go the MBA route, like if you need the rebrand, but if you can break in, elbow your way in, and then like, let's say you want like a reset for like to jump to a better bank or something like that, and you're not able to do it for some reason.
I have like banking experience in terms of not in corporate finance, but like financial advising, financial advisor, personal banking advisor, and TD Canada Trust.
Yep.
One of the bigger banks here in Canada. But like I'm trying to break into that, like the Goldman Sachs, the JP Morgan, those kind of like big banks, corporate investment banking roles.
Yeah. Your private wealth management is a million miles away from the banking, right? So,
yeah, for sure.
So it's like, PWM is one thing. It's a great career, but it's very different, right? So
yeah,
I think this internship will help maybe get you some more looks. But if your GPA high?
Yeah, it's pretty high.
So your GPA is high, so it's going to be about like just trying to get into the interview processes. Like we were saying, it's super early.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, just trying to break, just trying to like, because that like I feel like they don't even like look at certain schools.
No, they're not gonna. You're not gonna get any on-campus recruiting or minimal. Or if they do come to campus, it's going to be for like middle office or back office positions. You know what I mean?
Right. Just to get into that interview stage, I guess.
That's the hardest part. That's the hardest part, and that's about like it's about like it's going to be about just like making sure you're talking to people now. Like, what year are you?
I actually transitioned. Like I was in health science and I switched into Bachelor of Commerce, specializing in finance. So I'm technically going into my like third year of finance.
Third year, yeah. So it's a little late, right? Do you have an internship a finance internship? You said you have private wealth management, right? Was that so like, yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. Cause like they're recruiting full time, right? So like at this point, what I would say to you, it's not like, oh my gosh, life is over. But it's one of those things where it's like, it's so crazy competitive and people are so early that if you're from a non-target, you need to like have your shit together so early. And so crazy, like networking like a maniac, like freshman and sophomore year. Just to have like, just to be in the loop, to know when the interviews are, to be like, hey, can you get me a first round? And they're like, no, even then it's hard to get the first round. But like, you know, you're going into year 3 with some, you know, good GPA, good PWM internship. But like, I think there's also other tracks that you should be looking at to get to banking, if that's your goal. And there's no harm in like going to transaction advisory services, super competitive to get into. For that reason, because it's a feeder, right? And so like, I know you want to get to the Goldman Sachs and the JP Morgans, but the reality is you're not at the school to get you looks, and you haven't done and you haven't done the networking and the groundwork to actually get you the first round interviews. Where like, if you get the first round interviews, maybe you're better than everybody else. Maybe your technicals and you're super personable, and so your behaviorals are amazing, your technical skills are amazing, your financial modeling skills are off the charts, but it doesn't matter if you're not even getting looks, right?
For sure.
So like, I think what I would say is like, still apply to all these places, apply to all the bulge bracket banks, make sure it's very clear on your CV or your resume, make sure it's a 1-page resume, number one. I don't know if you were here the last couple of weeks when we did some resume reviews.
1-page resume.
Yeah, 1 page, make sure you use the WSO template or another one of these 1-page, you know, proven templates. And then from there, literally under your name, I would put bold, like US citizen, because you're going to have your Toronto address up there. And that a lot of people could be like, oh, throw away right away. Okay. So do that, and then start like, you know, start actually talking with people right now throughout the summer.
And then like, in terms of those kind of like, just one quick question. I don't want to take up too much time, but so like, I am aware that I'm late in terms of that process, but is there like, that's why I was looking to do my MBA, but I guess it's so competitive that it's like freshmen and sophomores, is it possible to, for example, finish your undergraduate degree, work a few years in a certain industry, in the banking industry, receive your MBA, and then go into a position like that? Or that's too late then?
What do you mean, going to what type of position? Like a bank?
Like in terms of the corporate banking, like investment banking internships.
Oh yeah, if you get it, but the key is like, you want to build a good profile such that, you know, the MBA program you get into is super important too. Like if there's a big difference from like the 20th ranked program and the 5th ranked program, in terms of like how many people place into the top banks. Like it's a massive difference. Like if you're talking about like Duke, Fuqua, you know, Wharton, Yale, Columbia, like one of these, you're going to get into like a top bank if that's what you want. But if then you start talking like at a, like, you know, some random state school MBA that doesn't have as, you know, as good of a feeder, like, oh yeah, we sent some kids to Goldman Sachs. Okay, yeah, where in Goldman Sachs?
So in terms of the MBA, like what is important is the internship more, because MBA is a little bit different than like other graduate programs. Like, is it the experience that they value more, or is it the GPA, or is it the combination of both? Like
combination. You'll want to offset your non-target school. You'll want a high GMAT. So you have a high GPA, which is good. If you get a high GMAT on top of that, that's really good. Like a 700 plus minimum, I'd say. If you do those two things, and then you have, and then you show, like, if you go from like TAS, then you like break into a bank, and like, you know, then at that point, if you're using the MBA to like, as a brand, like upskill your branding, and you write a good essay and you brand yourself. So like branding yourself, meaning like, you got to, as an applicant, you don't want to be coming in as like a well-rounded person. Like, oh, I'm kind of strong in a bunch of areas. You really want to brand yourself as like, I'm really passionate about education technology. And, you know, my extracurricular activities were all around education technology. My startup on the side is about education technology. My my family has history in education. My philanthropy work on the side is focused on education, helping education. So like, so for example, for me, that was how I branded my applications.
Yeah.
Right. For you, you got to find your spike, right? And really lean into that. Cause I think it makes the admissions committee's decision much easier when they know, okay, Camille is this person, right? He's our software, whatever guru, or he's our industrial engineer, like / finance combo person, whatever it is, but you got to find that and kind of lean into it and then try to build a cohesive story around like how you were shaped as, younger and kind of growing up with your parents, your family, and through this. And so like, you want to weave this beautiful story of like, oh, and this is why the MBA is perfect.
Yeah. So it's kind of like an all aspect kind of thing coming together.
Yeah, it's all coming together. And like a lot of the adcoms, they want to know, like, are you really sure about MBA and why is it going to help you? And so like that allows you to really actually deliver a really good answer to that. Why MBA and why now?
Right. Makes sense. Okay. Thanks so much.
Then you end up breaking into a higher program than you thought you could if your application, you know what I mean? So I think that would be helpful. It's okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Kids barging in, no worries. We can go a little bit longer. I'll take a couple more. Dua, is that how you say it? Dua or Doa? You have
can you hear me with the headphones on?
I hear you great.
Okay, amazing. I'm Stoa, but thank you for trying to pronounce it. Just hopping back to the internship and the layout for it. For the courses and the consist of that, mainly of the references, do you guys just refer to other, or like for the reference aspect, do you just refer to other jobs, or does it include like grad school or like post-secondary or more than post-secondary education?
When you say references, like you're talking about like when you're writing the articles?
Yeah, like if grad school would ask you for references in order to get into a program of theirs, would you guys be part of that, like the reference?
Oh, we could do, we'll confirm that you had the internship. We'll do all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But like writing letters of recommendation, I would say only if like you were promoted to like a paid role at that point. Like if
what would the references be under then? There would just be references, like there would just be like on your LinkedIn or connections or something?
Well, yeah, you can place this internship on your LinkedIn as like a role you had with us. And then you're talking about like a recommendation?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like we could do something where people who successfully completed be like, hey, Dua did great work for us, something like that. And Nabil can help kind of just post those to your internship once it's done. Nabil, we can add that as a...
Yeah, I think Dua's asking about the 5 recommendations though, right?
Oh, the 5. Oh, you're talking about the references. Oh,
yes.
Sorry. Okay, through me. So that you would just email. So what you do is you'd look at like specific connections I have on my LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You literally directly just tell me like, hey, I'd love to chat with these 5 people. And then from there, I would go and I'd message them and say, hey, Dua was a great intern. She helped us write on this stuff. And, it'd be great if you could carve out a few minutes. So that helps kind of just get, jumpstart your networking so you can get on more calls faster.
Okay. Oh, so you get like a direct email for the references that I choose.
You choose. Yeah. You look at who I'm connected to. You're like, hey, this person at this bank. And I can give you some advice around, it depends like what you want to break into. And you can ask me like, hey, did these people make sense? And I'll let you know or not.
Okay. And the course aspect of the internship, is it like courses that you guys made, or is it just courses like
it's Wall Street Oasis financial modeling courses? Any of the courses you see at the top of the site, if you click courses there, it'll bring you to the main course page, and it'll show, I think there's around 30 or 40 courses in the library now.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so any of those you can choose as you kind of go through the internship.
And like, what are the portions that you would like? How many hours do you finish in order to unlock those courses?
Yeah, it's 20. I think, Nabil, it's 20 every 25 hours, correct? Or 3 articles.
Yeah, 25 hours, 3 articles. Yeah.
Okay. How well known? Well, that's a question that I tried looking online, but coming from you, it would be way better to explain. How well known is Wall Street Oasis? Like, how big is it? And how effective would it be to put on a resume?
Good question. Wall Street Oasis is extremely well known. I'd say basically any investment banker or private equity professional or any really finance professional who ever looked into investment banking has heard of Wall Street Oasis or been on our site. We've had over 300 million unique people hit the site since the inception 16 years ago. So the brand is very well known. This internship is more new, so people might be a little bit more curious around this specific internship, the finance research internship. So people might be a little more curious, like, what is that? We have had many interns in the past over the last 16 years. Most of them have said to us, many of them have come back to us and said, the Wall Street Oasis experience was the reason I broke it, or the Wall Street Oasis experience was what I spent 90% of my interview talking about.
Really? That's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's because people are curious, because people see Wall Street Oasis as this fun community and sometimes a little bit crazy, and trust us, it's a lot of work with the moderation because people are out of control sometimes. But that kind of a little bit edginess makes people curious how it works on the inside. And so oftentimes when people see Wall Street Oasis in the resume, they're like, "Ooh, I want to talk about that," because sometimes they themselves are members, or they browse or read the content. So they wanted, like, "Oh, what's it like on the inside?" Or like, what type of work did you do? And so I think it's cool because it allows the interview to be a little bit less like, okay, regimented. Okay, I'm gonna just grill you on technicals, and more of a conversation about what you did and how you're interested in finance.
Okay. That sounds pretty cool, honestly. Did you start or I know that you did start the company, but did you start out like investing or just like banking in general, and then you added the internship aspect of it?
For the business? Yeah. Oh, I started it 16 years ago. It was mostly around investment banking oriented. And in the internship, we didn't have internships for years. It was a long, slow build for the business. So
what sparked the internship idea?
Internship was really more, we feel like we finally had enough stuff to give back in order to be able to offer something where we could get a lot of value from interns helping us with writing good content, and we could give a lot of value back. Before, we couldn't really offer an unpaid internship and give enough value back, we felt like, because we didn't have these courses. But now I was like, we have like thousands of dollars worth of courses we can give these interns, which is super relevant for them. So I was like, we can do this and give a lot of people value, and we can help, get together a large group of really smart people that can help us with our content generation and bring the quality of the content even higher. So that was the goal.
Yeah, honestly, based on what you told me right now, it sounds really great. That's like an opportunity for a lot of people. Last question, I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but breaking into finance, the summary of it, like how does it, is it easy? Is it hard for someone that has it like as a general idea to pursue and not really like sure?
Yeah, I think when you're starting out at that range and you're like talking about finance in general terms, it's going to be really hard because you like haven't honed in on exactly what you want. So I think that's like the step one. And I think that's where Wall Street Oasis really shines, is like there's so much content that you can sit there for hours and hours and read entertaining but educational posts as well. So like if you start getting into the conversations, you're gonna be like, what does that mean? What does ECM mean? What does DCM mean? What does BB mean? You're gonna be like, what is going on here? Like it's a different language. But once you start reading those and picking up on it and like tracking down the definitions or just clicking on the links and it brings you to a definition and you start learning about that, you'll start actually understanding the lingo more. And then you'll be like, oh, I get this. Oh, this is a really good path. This is a not so good path. Oh, look, this path doesn't pay as much, but it's a better lifestyle. Oh, this does this way. Oh, if you like working with people, this is a better person. If you like working with just pure technical, this is a better way. And so you start really kind of getting that map in your head, right? Such that you can make a better decision for your career. And that's really where the community shines. I think it's like that. And it's always been like that. So.
That basically sums that up. So
yeah, I would take advantage of the free forums as much as you can. And this internship's great. You'll learn a lot doing it. And it'll get you access to free courses that'll help you as well. And that can help you decide as well.
Did we put the courses on our resume that we took them, or?
Yeah, on the top of the Slack group, we show you exactly how to include it on your resume to make it look really good.
And it would be one page. Like it wouldn't be more than that.
I would keep it to one page. Yes, I would look at the WSO resume template to show you an example of what it should look like. Your resume.
For sure. Okay. Last question. An advice for like people that are starting in the finance industry at a young age. Like talking 18 years old. Like I hit 18 like a week ago and I'm starting, so I have no idea.
The good news is you're young, and so you have you have time. I would say don't think you have unlimited time and like everything's going to fall together. I think the earlier you can know what you want to do and can start honing in on that and networking and meeting people and being confident enough. I like the fact that you're confident enough to ask questions like this at that young age. If you can do that in a lot of phone calls with actual industry professionals when you're like 18, 19, 20, and you build up your network, not just connection requests and them accepting it on LinkedIn, but actually getting on the phone with people and building relationships in the industry, you will undoubtedly get job offers through the roof.
Okay. Yeah,
And also, I think you're female. So like if you are female, there are a lot of female in finance type of programs that could help you as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, doesn't really matter, but like, yeah, it'll be like closer for like females to interact with each other better. But I think that's all the questions that I have. Yeah, I don't have any more. And if I do, you're very easy to reach, which is great.
Yeah, and we're here every Friday, so come join and ask me more questions.
For sure. I will definitely do that. Thank you.
Good to have you, Doa. Thanks. Abhijit, let's end with you, man. I know you've been waiting. You're one of our regulars, so I want to make sure I get to you.
Yeah, so I was wondering about getting promoted to like paid internship, if you have to do something for that.
It's more going to be based around just it's mostly Nabil saying recommending you because he's reading your content and it's really good. You're highly efficient. Probably you're going well past the minimum, that type of stuff.
Okay, cool. And also I had one more question.
Mm-hmm.
So from our colleges, like I've heard JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs picks up for quant positions. So would it be easier to transition to, let's say, another country from those positions, like from India, or would I get stuck right there?
Is it easier? So the question is it easier to transition to other countries?
If I start like from JP Morgan in India, so can I leverage them to get into Europe?
Yes, it's much easier to transition internally. And Nabil, you can talk to this because I think you've done it or you've looked into it yourself.
Yeah. One of my friends just got into Morgan Stanley and then he moved to New York like just 2 weeks ago, I think. So like it's definitely possible. Like if you do a good job, they'll definitely move you to the offices abroad. So you just have to just join in, do a very good job, and then you can ask for it. Basically, he asked for it, so he got it. Yeah, and then they give you the I don't remember which visa it was. It was the L visa or the F. I don't remember. It's the
they take care of it for you.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's done and dusted. So you can just get in. If you get in, like that's the good thing. That's the hard part. Once you get in, it's easy. Just stay there for a couple of years, work hard, and it took him like 1.5 years, I think. Yeah, in total.
Okay, guys. Unfortunately, I gotta go. I got screaming babies and kids here. But sorry about the noise. But it's time to go to the beach with the kids. But we will all talk next Friday. I'll be back on. Okay. So thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for your questions. And if you have more questions, you can feel free to send them to the Slack chat. I'll try to get to them late tonight or sometime tomorrow. Thanks everybody.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Patrick.
Bye.
Thank you, bye.
And thanks to you, my listeners at Wall Street Oasis. If you have any suggestions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to send them my way, patrick@wallstreetoasis.com. Until next time.